In a preparation room, there was a boxer who was a foreign national while preparing to fight. His name was Billy Moore, who was a street boxer who pursued a career in Bangkok, Thailand. Apart from being a boxer, Billy was also a drug dealer and addict. While Billy was preparing, his friend massaged Billy so that Billy relaxed towards the match. After that, Billy's friend named Nyap got his turn to fight first. So, Billy was alone in the preparation room. He started sweating because of his nervousness. Billy felt the urge to consume drugs so that he wouldn't be nervous and anxious. At first, he tried to resist his urge, but he couldn't stand it and decided to consume drugs. A few after he took the drugs, Billy finally felt calm. Then Billy headed to the match arena because he got his turn. On the other hand, Billy's friend who helped Billy prepare had won the match. This made Billy triggered to win too. When Billy arrived at the arena, Billy felt the side effects of using the drug. Billy felt uncontrollable emotions, so he fought his opponent brutally. Billy continued to attack him without thinking first. This made it easy for Billy's opponent to fight Billy. He turned back to beat Billy until Billy was battered. When Gap saw this, he approached Billy and the referee stopped the match. After Billy finished the match, Billy went to the club to sell drugs. Billy decided to do this to increase his income. Meanwhile, the police targeted Billy for a long time. Until the next day, the police came to Billy's apartment. They raided Billy, who was trying to hide the drug called Yaba. Billy, who had nowhere to hide the drug, tried to insert it into his body. Unfortunately, the police had already arrived at Billy's apartment. They immediately arrested Billy and handcuffed his hands. Billy tried to defend himself, but he couldn't speak Thai. But the police didn't care what Billy said in English. They took Billy to the police station. When Billy arrived at the police station, he realized that the police had strong evidence. So, Billy couldn't deny the charges. Billy was then taken to a notorious prison called Krong Prem. On arrival at the prison, Billy, who did not understand Thai, just followed the other prisoners. Then the warden ordered the prisoners to take off their clothes and then examined them all. Even in prison, the prisoners walked squatting to get to the height check. When Billy checked his height, one of the warders named Campbell gave Billy heroin for free. After that, Billy and the prisoners went to their cells. Billy was placed in a cell that was shabby and full of people. In fact, they only slept on cloth and slept together. Billy saw that there was not a single empty place for him to sleep. Fortunately, a transgender prisoner gave his seat to Billy. Seeing that, Billy immediately laid down and slept even though the transgender was chatting with Billy. At that time, Billy just found out that the prisoner lying next to Billy was dead. This made Billy realize that this prison was very cruel. Billy, who was sleepy, couldn't sleep because he didn't expect all this to happen to him. The next day, Billy felt even worse because to get drinking water, Billy had to crowd with many prisoners. When Billy was about to get a drink, someone interrupted him. Billy angrily beat the man, so Billy was put into a smaller isolation cell. The next day, Billy was moved to a cell full of prisoners with serious cases. Then Billy had to report his identity to the head of the cell named Kane. Kane then asked Billy about himself. Billy said in limited language that he was a boxer. One of the prisoners also knew that Billy was a drug addict. Kane then told Billy to push up as a condition of joining the cell. Knowing that, Billy could only follow Kane's orders. But when Billy was doing push-ups, one of Kane's friends interrupted Billy by grabbing Billy's butt. Billy felt that it was not a polite thing, so Billy felt upset. After that, Billy was ordered by Kane to occupy a place near the bathroom. Although Billy felt uncomfortable, he still followed Kane's orders because he didn't want to make a scene. He then laid down on a makeshift cloth mat. Not long after, Billy had to witness a fight between the new prisoners and the old prisoners. Luckily, Kane was able to stop them all. Kane asked the prisoners to be calm and orderly. Later that night, while the prisoners were sleeping, Billy needed to urinate. Before he had time to urinate, several of Kane's men came over to Billy. One of them held Billy to prevent him from leaving. Others brought one of the new prisoners for them to harass. One of the prisoners then enjoyed the man's body, while Billy was forced to watch the unpleasant incident. Billy knew more than ever that life in prison was very cruel. Billy also felt as if he had to be a witness to the incident. When they finished harassing the new prisoner, they also let Billy go. They even threatened Billy not to tell the warden about the incident. Billy, who understood what Kang's men meant, decided to keep quiet. The next morning, Billy was shocked to see that the prisoner who had been harassed last night had suicided. The man chose to hang himself so that his suffering wouldn't continue. Surprisingly, the prisoners in the cell were not as shocked as Billy. They just looked at the man with dispassionate stares, as if it was a normal thing to happen in this prison. Shortly afterward, the warden picked up the body and took it away. After that, Kang's right hand approached Billy. He glared at Billy as if he wanted to say that Billy should not tell the warden about what happened last night. Then Billy approached the warden who was on duty. Billy asked him for some painkillers. Unfortunately, the warden didn't give Billy the medicine he wanted. The warden didn't want to give him the painkiller because he knew Billy didn't have any money or cigarettes to exchange for the medicine. Knowing that, Billy felt that they were treating the prisoners unfairly. This made Billy feel resentful of prison life. He then quickly beat up the warden. Fortunately, the warders immediately came to stop Billy. But apparently, they didn't stop Billy in a good way, but beat Billy to a pulp. Then the warden took Billy to the clinic in the prison. There, a transgender person took good care of Billy. His name was Fame, who worked at the prison. Billy spent a few days in the clinic to get better. After he looked better, the warders took Billy back to the cell. But what was different about Billy was that there was a weight on his leg in the form of a chain. The chain was tied to Billy's leg so that he wouldn't fight as he pleased. Then Billy served his prison term in the same cell as Kang. The next day, Kang and his men, who knew that Billy was a drug addict, secretly offered yaba to Billy. They gave it not for free, but Billy had to pay them when Billy had money. The next day, Billy went to the prison canteen. There, Billy found out that Fame was taking care of the canteen. Billy then thanked Fame for taking good care of Billy until he recovered. Furthermore, Billy said that he wanted to owe Fame a pack of cigarettes. Billy promised that he would pay Fame when Billy's father sent money. Fame, who heard that, immediately gave Billy cigarettes. Billy, who saw that, felt very happy and relieved. After Billy got the cigarettes, he didn't keep them but gave them to Lek. Billy apparently exchanged the cigarettes for drugs. Lek didn't think long, he immediately gave the drugs to Billy. Night fell, Billy and the prisoners were fast asleep. But suddenly, the warders woke them all up. Billy didn't know what had happened, but one of the prisoners said that people had died. Then the warders told them to walk to the field. They searched the cells and the inmates. The warden noticed that part of the fan was missing. The police realized that the fan was used by the perpetrator to kill the warden. Meanwhile, in the field, Billy was surprised to find a t-shirt containing drugs. One of the warders thought that it belonged to Billy. Fortunately, Billy could prove that the shirt was not his. It turned out that the shirt belonged to Lek, Kang's right-hand man. The police finally arrested Lek and beat him. The prisoners could hear Lek's cries of pain from the speakers on the field. The prisoners who were still lined up on the field could only remain silent at the sound of Lek's voice. The next morning, when Billy was queuing for food, he saw Campbell arguing with a Muslim prisoner. Then Campbell approached Billy and gave him yaba. This made Billy happy because he got it for free. But the next day, when Billy was high, Campbell did not give him yaba for free. Instead, Campbell made Billy an offer. Campbell told Billy to beat up the 3 Muslim prisoners who had quarreled with him yesterday. At first, Billy refused because he knew that the prisoners were not wrong, but because Billy really needed yaba, Billy decided to agree to Campbell's offer. Long story short, Billy approached the 3 prisoners. Billy then beat the 3 of them almost to death. After the incident, Billy felt guilty for beating those people. He also regretted that his addiction to drugs had left him broken and used by others. That night, Billy decided to end his life by cutting his veins. Fortunately, one of the prisoners found out about the incident and took Billy to the clinic. After Billy recovered, Billy's friend named Ngap came to visit Billy. Ngap told him that he had won the tournament. Ngap regretted that Billy was losing his career. Then Ngap encouraged Billy by saying that Billy still had hope to return to his career. Hearing that, Billy cried and regretted his actions. Then Billy returned to the cell. He realized that he had to stand up again. Billy finally practiced boxing again quietly. While practicing, he saw several prisoners jogging in the field. Billy then went to the fighter cell where the coach of the prisoner's fighter was. Billy begged the coach to let him join the fighter prison team. But the coach saw that Billy did not bring anything for him, so Billy was sent away. In the afternoon, Billy went to Fame to owe him another cigarette. Even though Billy had not paid his cigarette debt, Fame gave the cigarettes to Billy without any conditions. Without thinking, Billy immediately gave the cigarettes to the coach named Pong. Seeing that Pong was happy to allow Billy to practice, it turned out that the coach knew that Billy was a former boxer. He then told Billy to fight against a prisoner from the fighter cell. In the fight, Billy felt overwhelmed against his opponent. Shortly after, the fighter prisoner managed to beat Billy because Billy had not practiced for a long time. Billy spent several days continuing to train. He practiced by releasing emotions because this way Billy could get rid of his drug addiction. One night, Billy participated in a hickey fish gambling by betting cigarettes with other prisoners. Soon after, Billy managed to win the bet. But one of Kane's men didn't accept Billy's win. They almost fought. Fortunately, Kane managed to break them up. Kane then told his men to give Billy the results of the bet in the form of cigarettes. The man angrily gave the cigarettes to Billy. Billy was happy because he won the fish gamble. The next day, Billy gave his cigarettes to Fame to pay off his debt. At that moment, Billy then confessed that Billy's father didn't know that he was in prison. Fame also told him about his life. Fame apparently killed his father, who kept beating him. His father didn't like Fame because Fame became transgender. After Billy found out Fame's story, Billy finally had a relationship with Fame secretly. For a few days, Billy continued his practice with the direction of his coach and fighter prisoners. Billy also got the opportunity to take part in a match to celebrate the prison's anniversary. He fought Kang's men. In the third round match, Billy was badly beaten. But Billy was determined to continue the match in the fourth round. Billy was re-energized and got up again. In the fourth round, Billy and his opponent attacked each other. Before long, Billy managed to defeat his opponent when time was running out. Billy's victory made the head warden interested in him. Moreover, Billy also received cheers from the other prisoners in his cell. The next day, the head warden called Billy. He said that Billy had been selected as a representative fighter for a match that would be held in the near future. Hearing that, Billy immediately agreed to the offer. Then Billy was moved to the fighter's cell. This made Billy's friends sad. When Billy arrived at the fighter's cell, his life got even better. Billy got nutritious food and friends who were fighters. Billy was also close to his new friends. After getting the opportunity to enter the fighter's cell, Billy got a tattoo made by the fighter prisoners. The tattoo was on Billy's back and showed a leaping tiger. Billy seemed to appreciate his friends. Billy's days were filled with practicing and laughter with his friends. But Billy's happiness didn't last long as he found out that Fame was having an affair with another prisoner. This frustrated Billy, and he decided to buy another drug from Lek. After he felt that his emotions were overflowing due to the effects of the drugs, Billy then fought against his friend. Unfortunately, Billy couldn't handle his anger. Billy beat him to a pulp. This led to Billy being moved to another cell for the time being. In his shabby new cell, Billy regretted his actions for beating his own friend to a pulp. 2 days passed. Billy finally returned to the fighter's cell. Billy's friends then approached Billy. They were upset with Billy for hurting his friend. Billy apologized to his friend who he injured during the fight. At first, he was just silent, but finally, Billy's friend accepted Billy's apology. Hearing that, Billy felt happy because he could make up with his friends. Billy continued his day by practicing. He also joked with his friends. Billy even played pillow throwing with the other prisoners before going to bed. One day when Billy was taking a shower, Kang and his men suddenly smothered Billy. They threatened Billy that if Billy didn't win and didn't get the money, then they would transmit AIDS to Billy. They did this so that Billy would win the match. Billy then agreed to their request. One night when Billy finished his practice, he vomited blood. He felt tremendous pain in his stomach. Then Billy was examined, and it turned out that Billy had organ damage due to the alcohol and drugs Billy had consumed. Hearing that, Billy didn't give up hope. He enthusiastically continued his practice and fought according to the original plan. Long story short, the day of the match arrived. Billy finally went to a prison that hosted the match. When he arrived, Pong trained Billy for a while. Billy then felt extremely nervous. He wanted to consume drugs to ease his nervousness, but Billy realized the side effects of consuming drugs. Finally, Billy decided to fight his nervousness. He walked to the ring and was cheered by many people. The first round match began. Billy and his opponent attacked each other until Billy got a punch in his stomach. This caused Billy some pain. Even so, Billy continued the match, even though Billy got a punch from his opponent. Soon Billy fell, but his opponent kicked Billy. This made Pong feel bad. He went up to the ring and made a scene. Billy felt that his opponent was cheating, so it made Billy want to attack him even more ferociously. The third round began, and Billy attacked his opponent first. He hit him more brutally than before. Eventually, Billy defeated him with a spinning elbow. Moments after that, Billy suddenly became dizzy and vomited blood. Billy even fell down helplessly. Seeing this, the warders immediately examined him and took him to the hospital. The next day, when Billy woke up, he asked permission to go to the toilet. Billy realized that the nurses were not looking after him, so Billy decided to escape from the hospital. Billy walked casually towards the exit while the security guards were busy. He walked down the street wearing hospital clothes. This made the citizens notice Billy. Then Billy walked down the endless train tracks. It was then that Billy realized that he had no one in the country. Then Billy decided to return to the hospital. Billy, who gradually recovered, was taken back to prison. Then Billy found that his father was visiting Billy in prison. Billy was happy that his father had come from England to see how Billy was doing. After he served 3 years in Thailand, Billy was transferred to a British prison and released due to an amnesty from the King of Thailand.